Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me, Shell Bhatnagar. Well, the Indian stock markets wrapped up Tuesday on a positive note yesterday when we saw both the key indices posting in gains. And that was kind of a relief rally after Monday's, manic trade that we had seen on Monday. And therefore, yesterday we did see about 0.4% of an uptick on the Nifty, and the Nifty bank ended slightly higher, about 0.5% uptick in trade was seen for this one as well. But the key sectors that really posted gains were oil and gas, pharma, metal stocks were shining bright yesterday. But again today, will the markets continue this move is something that we need to watch out for. The global cues are slightly on the negative side, and more importantly, yesterday post the market hours, we did see the first advanced GDP estimates, and the markets will be reacting to that now. For FY25, the Indian government estimates that India's economy will grow at a 6.4% GDP rate. Although this was slightly in line with the expectations, but it has definitely come off the recent expectations that the RBI had given of 6.6% as well. It's marginally lower than that, but remarkably lower than the global agencies' expectations. So Fitch, S&P and even IMF had expected 6.8 to 7% growth rate for Indian economy in FY25. That isn't happening because the government itself is expecting a 6.4% growth rate. This is sharply lower than even the last year. FY24, we had seen 8.2% growth rate for India, and it's come off sharply from that. So all of those will also get a reaction to that as well. Of course, globally, US markets closed negatively. This was largely led by the tech shares. S&P 500 closed the session about 1% lower in trade. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite declined by 1.9%, and also the 30 stocks Dow Jones Index as well fell by about 29 odd points, or 0.07% in trade at 42,499 as well. What we've also going to be seeing is that the US 10-year bond yield is at 4.69%. The dollar index is at 108.5. Rupee dollar index is trading at 85.78. Again, the rupee is hovering around the record low levels. Gold is at $2664 an ounce, and Brent crude is again firming up. $77 an ounce is what we've seen. This is over the tighter Russian as well as Iranian supply due to the escalating sanctions that we have been seeing as well. Now, following the US, what we did see is that the Asian markets were trading on a mixed note on Wednesday, and Nikkei was trading about 0.8% lower in trade. The Korean index Kospi trading about 0.3% higher. Australia's index opened higher as well, about 0.4% odd or so. The Chinese index, the Shanghai Composite, was down by 0.1% as well, and the GIFT Nifty futures are indicating to a subdued start at 23,723 odd levels as well for the Indian markets. Now, as far as the foreign portfolio investors are concerned, they have stayed net sellers for again the second session as well. What we've also seen is that what they have sold in yesterday's trading session is to the tune of 2,500 odd crore rupees again. Although the DIIs have continued to buy stocks worth about 5,749 odd crore rupees in the markets yesterday. What we will also see is, very importantly, the NSE is set to introduce F&O contracts for Gland Pharma, Castrol, NBCC, Solar Industries, Phoenix Mills and Torrent Power with effect from January 31. So more and more stocks getting added. As of yesterday's trade, we did see a 1491 odd crore rupees sell-off from the FIIs, whereas on the DII front, they bought about 1615 odd crore rupees in yesterday's trade as well. So that's as far as the kind of setup is concerned. We also have Shell with us. Morning, Shell. It looks like it's going to be again a difficult start for the markets again on Wednesday, because we have a weak handover from the globe, and we also have the domestic macro numbers from the GDP front indicating to a negative start for the Indian markets today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Gaurang Shah, Senior Vice President for Geojit Financial Services, joins us. वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू यू गौरांग. शुभ प्रभात, नमस्कार, स्वागत है आपका. किस हिसाब से आप सेंटिमेंट को देख रहे हैं दलाल स्ट्रीट पर? US 10-year यील्ड अब 5% की तरफ बढ़ती हुई, बहुत ही कम इस वक्त बुल्स रह गए हैं दलाल स्ट्रीट पर. क्या कीजिएगा?
हम बुल्स होते हैं तभी हमारा जो विश्वास होता है और हमारी जो दृढ़ता होती है वो और भी मजबूत हो जाती है. चल भाई, आपको भी प्रणाम, साक्षी जी को भी प्रणाम और सभी को प्रणाम और शुभ प्रभात हमारे तरफ से. तो जब अब जो बहुत बड़े गुरु ज्ञानी ने कह के गए कि जब चारों तरफ, और जब अभी जब साक्षी जी कुछ स्थानीय और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय रूप में खबरों को लेकर के जिक्र कर रहे थे, ऐसा लग रहा है कि चारों तरफ मातम मचा हुआ है। और जब कभी भी ऐसा होता है तो मेरे ख्याल से हम जैसे लोग ज्यादा उत्साहित हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि हम छोटी या मध्यम अवधि के लिए नहीं विचारधारा रखते हैं, हम लंबी अवधि के लिए विचारधारा रखते हैं। और उसी विचारधारा के तहत और उसी तर्क को ध्यान में रखते हुए मेरे ख्याल से खरीदारी का बहुत बड़ा मौका है। दूसरी तिमाही के नतीजों का आगाज अगले हफ्ते से हो जाएगा, और बजट को लेकर के भी मेरे ख्याल से चर्चा पहले से ही शुरू हो गई है। अब देखना होगा कि 1 फरवरी 2025 को माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी श्रीमती निर्मला सीतारामन जी क्या पेश करते हैं बजट के रूप में हमारे और आपके समक्ष। और उस बीच में प्रेसिडेंट इलेक्ट माननीय ट्रंप साहब ओवल ऑफिस ग्रहण करेंगे, उनकी नीतियां भी क्या है, क्योंकि उन्होंने जो टिप्पणियां करी थी जब चुनाव हो रहा था राष्ट्रपति का अमेरिका में, तो वो भी ध्यान में रखा जाएगा। तो मैं बिल्कुल मानता हूं शैल भाई कि हाँ, थोड़ा बहुत शुरुआत 2025 की कमजोर नहीं लेकिन असमंजस परिस्थिति में कहूंगा। बट इफ यू हैव द कमिटमेंट एंड इफ यू हैव द विलिंगनेस एंड इफ यू हैव द कॉन्फिडेंस एंड मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली इफ यू हैव द हाई रिस्क एपेटाइट, then I think these are, I would not say best of the times, but these are good times to accumulate stock.
Good morning to you, Gaurang ji, and thank you so much for joining in. Happy New Year to you. You're joining in for the first time in this new year with all of us on Business Today. I wish that this year turns out to be a fantastic one for you, for your loved ones, and for your team at large as well. And may you continue to come in more often to guide all our viewers in 2025. Maybe see you more often with us on the shows as well. Yes, you did point out, right, that, you know, even when things are not going right across the board, you know, it's probably an indication that we need to step up our game in the investments. So in 2025, tell me, what is it that you're going to be strategizing for your clients as well? Is it going to be far different from what you did in 2024?
First of all, apologies. Yes, Sakshi, we are meeting for the first time. It's been almost more than exactly a week.
Yeah.
Last Wednesday was the 1st of Jan. Wishing you, my good friend Shel Bhatnagar, and all the viewers and the team of BTTV a very healthy, prosperous, happy, and futuristic, growth-oriented 2025. I wish the times like what we saw in 2022-23 and the early part, or maybe first half of 24, reflects in 2025, but it looks a little bit difficult in terms of equity market performance. What outlook we have given out for this year as far as Geojit is concerned is that you need to scale down your expectation as far as the index is concerned. Sensex and Nifty, we are approximately targeting 12 to 15% return if everything goes well. And if you have a better understanding, better knowledge, better risk appetite on an elevated level, and if you are able to identify sectorial and within those sectors some individual stocks, then you can end up getting 15-20% or a little bit more than that. If things improve going forward from here on, and largely, of course, what budget has to say, and if geopolitical situation stabilizes, then I think these expectations would be scale upwards in terms of returns. But as of now, this is the expectation, and I hope to pray that whatever geopolitical tension and whatever unpleasant surprises that normally China throws at the world does get restricted to the boundaries of China and does not slip over, but that looks a little difficult. And I hope the geopolitical situation, all the state heads or country heads get their wisdom in place and sit and talk together and iron out things rather than throwing missiles and bullets and drones at each other. Now, in terms of sectorial theme that you asked me, Sakshi, I think capital goods engineering, defense, EMS, electronic manufacturing sector, IT, financials, that is banking and NBFCs, autos and cement, and power. These are broad 6 to 7 themes that we have highlighted for 2025. Large cap would be undoubtedly the first preference and choice, and then scaling it down to the mid cap. Small cap, micro cap, I think we need to wait out and watch what the earnings deliver.
Right. Gaurang, how do we see pharma from this level onwards? A lot of old-time favorites like Lupin, to some extent even Laurus Labs, and of course Cipla, Sun Pharma, and the likes of Reddy's and Divi's are in top shape, more or less helped by this very sharp slide in the rupee as well. What are your thoughts in the pharma space as of now? Between September and January now, the two indices that are up, despite the broader market falling sharply, are pharma and healthcare.
Kushal, I think every time we have a scare coming in from China, pharma sector comes to limelight, spotlight, geopolitical situation, and the fact remains, Shell, that India was, is, and will always remain a pharmacy to the world. I don't think we'll have any other country in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years which can compete with the kind of capability, capacity, experience, know-how, and R&D that we have. CDMO space is the one that is buzzing. That's what we are concentrating along with the APIs and the generics. But I would also say the same breadth and in the same length, Shell, that don't look at pharma in terms of isolation. If you're looking at pharma, you need to look at diagnosis sector, you need to look at healthcare, that is hospital. And if you combine all three, you have a very strong universe of pharma, diagnosis, and healthcare hospitals. And that will create wonders over a longer period of time. So amongst the large cap names, we are extremely positive on Sun, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, Divi's. Amongst the CDMO space that I mentioned, Shell, there was a recent listing about 3 or 6 months back. I don't really recollect. There was a company called Ecums Drugs. This is the largest CDMO player in India. Then along after that, we have Zydus Life Science, Zydus Wellness, Natco Pharma, Aurobindo Pharma. Dr. Lal Path Labs is in the diagnosis space that we are extremely positive about. Apollo, Narayan Dudalaya, and Fortis. These are the hospitals or healthcare related stocks that we are positive. And I'm quite sure that if you don't have huge negative news from US FDA or any kind of large negativity in terms of establishment inspection reports or Form 483, then I think we are able to perform quite well on pharma as well.
Gaurang, could you also tell us what's your own view on the entire IT space? We are officially getting into the Q3 earnings season pretty soon now. From tomorrow onwards, we'll start getting numbers coming in from the large caps like TCS. What is your expectation here, especially now that the rupee is also at record low, and you rightly pointed out that Donald Trump will be assuming office very soon. So this will be probably the first sector that we'll be looking at in terms of the key decisions that he perhaps takes once he assumes office. And of course, the earnings factor. IT space for you, sir.
So in times like this, Sakshi, the two sectors that look, in times like this, I'm referring to the statement you made while the shows just started off, is the weak rupee against the dollar.
Yeah.
I would also like to add that it is only not that the Indian INR is weak. Large emerging market currencies are also weak against the dollar, and so is the developed market currency, something like euro is weak. And very strong dollar is also unviable for US economy as well. So you need to strike a balance somewhere. Anyway, we are at the lowest point historically as far as INR dollar is concerned. Maybe there is a little bit of more weakness. And whenever we see things like this happening, two sectors that come into the spotlight because of two reasons. One is weak rupee against the dollar, and the second one is uncertainty and volatility. Pharma and IT are the two sectors which are relatively insulated from what is happening. And in terms of earning visibility, well, we expect IT sector to perform well. Second quarter was better than what our estimates were in some names, company specific. Commentary and verbatim given by most of the IT large cap, mid cap companies, small cap companies was good enough to guide us through a smooth Q3 earnings season. And of course, remains to be seen what President-elect Mr. Trump has to do in terms of policies. But I would also say that America is not the only destination for Indian IT companies to work. There are domestically a lot of opportunities, and minus America, there are a lot of opportunities as well.
Right. Gaurang, what happens to the deep value space? Stocks like paper, stocks like sugar, who used to have their time under the sun when people would get tired of momentum stocks and wanted them to correct. Given the fact that momentum has now completely disappeared in the market, how do you look at spaces in sugar such as Balrampur, Praj Industries? Some of them have this infrastructural kick to it because of ethanol blending. Paper, many of them are available, in a single digit, low PE. What is the theme within Geojit as far as these two sectors are concerned?
So honestly, Shell, we are keeping our distance from these two sectors. I'll reason out sugar first. Sugar cane and sugar prices. Again, there was a disparity. That disparity is narrowing down because of the steps and the MSP rates, etc., etc. Ethanol, again, there was a little bit of statement from the government as far as ethanol is concerned. Limitation of its production and use. Blending of ethanol with petroleum products like petrol, diesel is still at a single digit lower level, needs to scale up to lower double digit and then onwards, which is not happening. Ethanol prices have got revised upwards, but again, the revision was not in line with what the street estimates were for per liter of ethanol. And then you have the concerns in terms of the debt on the balance sheet of some of the sugar manufacturing companies. So we are distancing ourselves as far as sugar is concerned. Even with paper, Shell, we really don't find any value or let me put it this way, we don't understand it or we don't have the confidence. So we are keeping ourselves away from these two sectors.
Okay. You also did point out banks as one of the spaces that we will be watching out for in 2025, sir, or financials as a whole. Tell us what will be the strategy for each of the segments right there. We've seen a relative outperformance in the NBFC space, AMC, wealth creating space right there in 2024. Large caps have started to perform now, ICICI, HDFC Bank and the likes as well. PSU banks have had a great run up in 2024, kind of now finding their feet, but how is it that one should be really looking forward to each of these segments, sir?
So, Sakshi, I'll go to the extent of saying that if you do have a portfolio in stock market, then my advice would be that in that universe of portfolio of different sectors, one sector that you must have is banking and finance. We all have very strong feeling and aspiration towards making India the next billion-dollar economy.
Yeah.
We are contributing to make India the largest manufacturing hub. Government is working on the policies, etc. Is this going to just fall out from the sky and fall in your lap and my lap? No. We are going to need skilled labor. We're going to need white collar jobs. We are going to have necessary for credit line, because without credit line, you are not going to able to get where you want to be, or maybe even more beyond that. So, banking is going to be a core sector to possibly make that reality of making India the next billion-dollar economy or the largest manufacturing hub, which outsources to the rest of the world. There was an issue with respect to mobilization of deposits, but that I think will possibly last only for short to medium term. I don't think long term there's going to be any impact. The commentary given out in terms of the business outlook is good enough. Some banks have reported good numbers in terms of deposits, CASA, and of course the loan book growth. So I would say that you have a portfolio in banking and finance, and keep three things in mind. Private sector banks, strong public sector banks, and strong NBFCs. Now, when I say NBFCs, again, NBFCs, Sakshi, is a huge universe. You have housing finance companies, you have diversified finance companies, you have microfinance companies, you have small payment banks, and likewise. So you need to cherry pick from all these three and make your portfolio.
Right. 200 points higher on the Nifty, ladies and gentlemen. I wish this would sustain for the rest of the day. And both of us, the three of us, enjoy this lovely bounce, but I'm most certain it won't. Let's just look at what causes this enthusiasm in the market. It's TCS. We are 1 day away from earnings as far as TCS is concerned, 1.9% higher at 41,007. What else is booming and booming well? You have a 1 percentage point uptick on SBI, 8 rupees higher at 787. We have a strong uptick coming on ICICI Bank. This is very good, 3.5% higher, 1323. Bajaj Finance is now flat. It was up about 14 rupees earlier. Now 73.15, up about 5 rupees. A bit of a volatile session. Now, what are the index heavyweights doing? Nothing on HDFC Bank, 50 paise lower, 1712. What is Reliance doing? 12 rupees 55 higher, 1252. How about Infosys in the green? And ICICI Bank, I've already told you, is in strength. Okay. Nifty is now 81 points higher. Most likely you will have an absolutely flat opening for Wednesday. Remember, we are 1 day away from the weekly expiry of the Nifty in the futures and FNO contracts as well. Okay. What is looking good? Phoenix Mills enters the FNO space, 1.2% higher, 1600. There is a strong move coming into Bank of Maharashtra, 2.2% higher, 5250. Gland Pharma, again a new entrant in the FNO space, 1% higher, 1870. So it's more or less a flat opening. I have some sugar stocks that we were just discussing. Sri Renuka Sugars, 2.3% higher, 40 rupees. You have a smattering of real estate space. Oberoi Realty, 1.5% higher, fresh record high thereabouts. Macrotech Developers, better known as Lodha, 1340, about 0.2% higher. This is how markets are at the moment. The Nifty now just 48 points higher. There is a 5 rupee downtick on HDFC Bank. There is a 7 rupee downtick on TCS. There is a 4 rupee downtick on Axis Bank. So the initial steam that was there is now slowly but surely slipping out of trade. One stock that I'd like to mark is Jyoti CNC Automation. This has been the best performing IPO of 2024 and 1.7% higher, 1385. Let's get back to Gaurang and ask his views on the internet space. Strong one coming in on Swiggy and Zomato, a bit of profit booking here. Gaurang, what is the house view on these two stocks and where do you see buying support, especially on Swiggy?
Positive on both. In fact, Swiggy and Zomato on both, we had an IPO note. Then we have a standalone report on Zomato for a pretty long time. On Swiggy, the recently listed competitor for Zomato, we had given a subscribe from a long-term point of view. There is a huge opportunity for both these companies in quick commerce to scale up their operations and look at tier 3, tier 4 cities, possibly semi-urban, even rural India. I think that's where the economy is buzzing, and the buzzword that I've heard, Shelby, is about the consumption that is picking up space in semi-urban and rural. That excites to FMCG company, and if these quick commerce companies are able to get inroads into those geographies, then I think it will get value addition. There is a lot of opportunity for tapping the untapped, as we call it, Shelby, for quick commerce company, and subscriber base is likely to grow. Competition is coming in, but I think there is enough place for everybody to coexist. We continue to remain positive on quick commerce, two listed entities, Swiggy as well as Zomato.
Okay. Gaurang, have you been looking at these new IPOs that have started to come in 2025 as well? Does anything interest you at this point in time? We had Quadrant Future Tech yesterday from the railway and the covered space, also open up and of course get subscriptions right within the first 20 minutes, half an hour as well. So that continues to show in that the kind of appetite is still strong for the Indian investors as far as the IPO space is concerned, and for many others that are coming in. What is your own sense here? Are you looking at anyone?
So you need to be very specific, Sakshi. Honestly, people have got used to certain bad habits. Every paper that comes into the market, everybody thinks that, oh, it's going to be a great performer, oh, it's going to create great value. And more importantly, people look at listing gains. Now, I don't know how to make sense out of it, because not all papers, all companies, all valuation, all management attract premium. We need to be careful, and now there are enough tools and information that is available, Sakshi, for even a lay investor who's putting his money, his or her money in the IPO, to reason out and understand whether he or she should go and do that or not, and all depends upon time horizon. As far as Quadrant is concerned, well, it's a niche train control systems manufacturing company. Along with that, it is also into cables for railways, rolling stock, defense, naval defense, beam related cables, high performance cables, etc., etc. We find the price band between 275 to 290 a reasonable valuation. And if you have a long-term time horizon, we've given a subscribe to Quadrant IPO. And I said, like I said, Sakshi, I think we will evaluate each and every IPO in terms of business opportunity, management, valuation, and futuristic growth, and then possibly take a call. But for this one, we've given a subscribe long-term.
906, there is just a mild green tick on the Nifty, 43 points higher now. 23,750 is where the battle between the bulls and bears will start on Wednesday. Gaurang, a very quick view on the FMCG space, in particular ITC. Now the demerger is into effect, and ITC Hotels will soon to be listed entity. How does the standalone ITC at 455 look to you, and what valuation does Geojit have on ITC Hotels?
So ITC Hotels, I'll give you a rough estimate. Between 150 to 200 is the large consensus on the street, shall buy, for the hotel business to get listed at. For ITC standalone, possibly somewhere close to about 525 to 550. But here again, we've heard a lot. They've got a lot of business under the balance sheet. How hotel was demerged and listed as a separate entity. Street is abuzz that there are going to be 2 or 3 more businesses which will get hived off and listed as a separate entity, though the management of ITC has not clarified on that. But we remain positive on both.
Okay, got that. So that's as far as ITC is concerned. The Nifty is now settling as far as the pre-open trade is concerned at 23,746, around what GIFT Nifty trends were indicating. Now a positive or a slightly higher start at 0.1% odd. ONGC continues to be the top mover. Remember, yesterday also it drove the gains in the oil and gas space. You also have some autos names coming in forward. M&M, Hero Moto, these are the stocks that are recovering from yesterday's lows. Seems like even Aisha Motors could be in the thick zone as well. Adani Ports from the Adani pack also could be in focus. Realty, Pharma, these pockets could again be in focus as well, and the PSU stocks also could be in trend today. Let's discuss with you, Gaurang, the auto space at large. Well, M&M has now come out with the key prices of its e-vehicles that it is going to be launching from February 14th, the bookings as well. And they are expecting to sell about 5,000 of each of these EVs that they are going to be starting the bookings for, BE6 and XEV9E. How are you looking at M&M stepping the pedal again on the EV SUV space now?
I was actually wondering how come you and Shaila now asked me a question on auto sector, because December normally is a month in the year, Sakshi, that you don't see these kind of sales numbers, because it's the last month of the year. And I honestly don't understand. I mean, let me give a disclosure. When I took a delivery of my car some years back, I took it in the month of December. And this, phobia that is there, that if you buy a car on 31st December or in the month of December, then on 1st of Jan, that car becomes 1 year old. I mean, I think it's just a gimmick tool that some of these car dealers are playing with your, mindset. Because the fact is that if a car is manufactured in a particular date and year, you have to calculate from that date to how come one day crossover leads to 1 year old vehicle. So I refuse to understand that. Anyways, coming to your question,
Interesting.
we expect the auto sector to do very well. There are a whole host of launches that are lined up in the year 2025, and even for the last year gone by 2024, it was in the fag end that you saw Tata Curve getting launched. It was absolutely in the fag end that you saw these two fantastic PV EVs, which was launched by Mahindra and Mahindra. And now you have a lot of other. I mean, I believe Hyundai EV is also in the market now, or it is going to get launched from Hyundai Motors. Creta is going to come in EV form. And we expect the auto sector to do well. So we are positive on entire auto manufacturing companies, barring of course Escort, Kubota, and JBM Auto. We remain positive on two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, commercial vehicle, tractor, and agri equipment. And you also need to be positive on tire and OEM segment.
Well, Gaurang, we will not only not forget to ask you on auto. We will not forget to invite you for the upcoming Bharat Mobility Expo in the next week here in Delhi.
For
So
sure,
this is
yes.
what you need to be here for. And then we can also plan up some special shows that Shell and I have been talking with you for like so long. This will be the opportune time that we get both the passions, food and autos, and you and Shell could be doing that camaraderie and also take a ride in Shell's new car as well.
Oh, congratulations, Shell. I didn't know you got a delivery of a new car. Congratulations to you.
You know, thank you very much, Gaurang, and that was because of these very strict emission norms that have been put into place because of this pollution. So I had to sell a perfectly working vehicle for no fault of the vehicle and incur a cost to buy another vehicle of the same brand. These are painful things to happen, but what can be done? The thing that you point about December is, rooted in our middle class values of trying to make the maximum possible run from a vehicle and getting a fabulous price at the resale time. So look at this way. My previous purchase was in I think September of that particular year, and by September 2024 I was supposed to dispose of the vehicle. But if I had bought it in January of say 2015, I would still have 3-4 months left and I would have got a better price. I mean, the scrappage value of that vehicle that I got was so less that those were very depressing times. But Sakshi points out very well, we have a show planned for you and you have to come to Delhi to enjoy the beautiful cuisine that we have here. The weather is excellent, and we'd just like to invite you in on a public platform, and you have no other option but to say yes. But we'll make it up with fabulous cuisine and wonderful questions. I'm sure you're going to enjoy the lovely weather here and the lovely munchies that we have in mind for you.
Thank you so much, and looking forward for this. Definitely, yes.
Right. We are just about a couple of seconds away from the market. Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at a US 10-year yield, which is now inching towards 5%. Basically, it doesn't make any sense to go long for the short term. Saving your capital is more important than sort of punting intraday, and we have to wait for an opportune time in the market to buy. So be sensible. There is absolutely no necessity to be in the market on a regular basis. Just sit on the sidelines, enjoy the show, and wait for a good time to come into markets to buy. You need to have your powder dry at that point of time to step into quality stocks. But for the moment, let's look at what the markets are throwing to us on Wednesday, which is T-1 for the Nifty futures market. Flat as flat can be. Nifty 17 points higher, 23,700. There is a red tick across the board now. The IT index has opened 150 points lower. The Nifty bank is 81 points lower. And now let's look at the heavyweight space. What is it telling us? Okay, 8 out of 10 index heavyweights are in the red. So it's not looking good at the start. HDFC Bank is 6 rupees lower, 1707. Let's start with the another index heavyweight. Axis Bank, my apologies, ICICI Bank is rupee and a half lower, 1279. What is Reliance doing? It's adding to Nifty's gains, 11 rupees higher, 1250. Remember, Reliance is now being used by sensible market strategists to sort of balance the weakness on the Nifty. Reliance in any case is below 200-day DMA. There's not much of a fall expected. So a base building is happening on Reliance, now 13 rupees higher. Infosys, 13 rupees lower, 1915, and TCS, 6 rupees lower. Broadly, out of the 5 super heavyweight index heavyweights, 4 are in the red. Now let's shift focus to the FNO space and find out what's happening. Castrol, new entrant, 3.2% higher, 202. NBCC, new entrant, 2.5% higher, 91 rupees. Gland Pharma, new entrant, 2.5 rupees higher, 2.5% higher, 1896. So this is looking good for at least the new guys in. But let's look at the most active list. Anything that worries me? No. Aegis Logistics mildly in the red. Remember, 2 straight days of 10 and 8% upticks. Now 0.5% lower. So far, this is the top traded counter. Profit booking continues on Zomato. 1 percentage point lower, 249. ITI profit booking again, nothing to be worried about. 5.6% lower, 461. You have BSE in the red, and anything in the green, yes. So it's likely to be a pharma day. Dr. Reddy's 3% higher. Remember, this is a low beta stock. When Dr. Reddy's rises, it basically gives you an idea that pharma will be in top shape. Sun Pharma in the green. Gland I've already marked. Laurus looking good, 0.5% higher. Divi, Cipla, Lupin, Mankind, Glenmark, Torrent and Ipca Labs, all in the green. So look forward to the pharma space. And of course, Nifty is now in the red, 18, 17 points higher. Let's look at the PSU space. You have ITDC in the green, ONGC in the green, 1.2% higher. Cochin, Ireda in the green, Ingenious India, SGVN in the green. So this is how the markets have opened. Anything that you notice, Gaurang, in the first 1 or 2 minutes of trade?
Difficult to point out because it's been just some minutes for the trades that have opened up, but my sense is that pharma and IT should possibly be on the focus. Remains to be seen how the day is going to pan out because the start and the kind of level that we are witnessing right now is totally different. The indications that we had pre-opening. So my sense is that don't try to do something extraordinary. Don't try to be a Robin Hood. It's always better at times when you don't know, don't understand, to stay in the sideline, like to say, and watch the show from the sideline. But if you do want to do something, then I think pharma and IT, possibly these are the 2 sectors that you should look at.
Okay, we will keep an eye out on these 2 sectors. Meanwhile, viewers, let's also welcome Osho Krishnan, Senior Research Analyst, Technicals and Derivatives at Angel One. He's also joining in on the show. Warm welcome. Good morning to you, Osho. Good to have you with us. Well, again, a mild negative start for the Indian markets right now. The limited pockets that are buzzing are oil and gas, pharma, infra spaces right now. Just about far and few between stocks in the large cap space and in the PSU space right now. What are you going to be keeping a keen eye out on?
And Shal sir, well, looking at the overall sentiment, the view remains the same that on the higher levels one should look for selling opportunities because there has been no positive development in the market. But overall, there are sector-specific movements that are being seen in our market. Firstly, pharma and healthcare space is looking very positive. Majority of the counters has given a very strong breakout of consolidation. So I'm expecting that should continue in the short-term period. So stocks like Granules, Max Health, Apollo Hospital, one should definitely keep these counters in their radar because they have formed a very strong support base, and after that they have started gaining some strong traction. So these counters should be looking forward for an buying opportunity, while counters from the metal space like JSW Steel, Jindal Steel, and from power, Tata Power is looking very weak. So one should try to look for opportunities in sell side in these kind of sectors. So there will be sector specific movement that can be seen in the market, and one should apt the same approach of getting the highs to lighten their long position, and on the lower side for Nifty specifically, 23,600, 23,500 is the zone where we have seen some kind of buying traction in the market in the past few trading sessions. So I'm expecting that if there will be any kind of correction towards the zone of 23,600, one should look for opportunities on the buying side in the benchmark index.
Mm. 9:21, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a walk into the wild side of the market, and let's look at what it's throwing up in terms of the broader indices. Okay, we are on the back foot. 760 shares are in the green versus 1370 in the red. So it's an easy 1:2 favoring bears. We track 19 indices for you. 18 are in the red. There is no point taking long side calls. Nifty energy index is mildly in the green. It's doing nothing at all, and the advanced decline ratio is severely in favor of bears on the NSE 500, 1:4. Now, what is the mid-cap index doing? Already down 0.85%. What is the small cap index doing? Already down 0.6%. And there is selling pressure on mid-cap select, down 1%. Nifty Alpha 50 is also down about 1%. What is sort of keeping the Nifty afloat? I think it's ICICI Bank. Let's look at the contributory list. Okay, yes, because of ICICI Bank, the index is up 6%. ONGC is contributing 6 points. Reliance is contributing 15. Osho, your view on Reliance? We see this sideways trend on Reliance for quite a long while. Nothing much happening on the stock. Now 1253. What are the medium term charts telling you? We've already had a 24-25% correction from its most recent high of 1600. Is the worst over?
See, overall, looking at the broader term time frame, there has been a very steep fall in this counter, and also we are not witnessing a very strong buying traction, but definitely in the last 2 weeks, there has been some kind of consolidation. But looking at the technical parameters, all the formations or the base foundation is forming below the significant EMAs. So after a very long after a very long time, the counter have started gaining some traction in the last 4 trading sessions and has emerged above the 20-day EMA. So that is the first positive development, but overall the view remains on the sidelines because we are having a bearish gap around the zone of 1270 odd levels. So until we breach the zone of 1270, the view remains on the sidelines. Only above 1270 odd levels, one can look for buying opportunity in Reliance. Till that time, there can be some subdued movement from the zone of 1270 towards 1220 in the short term period.
Okay. Let's again look at some of the other stocks that are catching our attention. Reliance Industries is up by about 1%, and there are a slew of brokerage houses that are penciling in higher targets for Reliance today. So Bernstein gave an outperform rating with a target price of 1520. Jefferies has a buy call with a target of 1690. Now we do know that Reliance has had a negative year in 2024, the first one in last 10 years. But let's see how it goes. Let's get Gaurang in right here. Gaurang, tell us, how are you looking at Reliance Industries for this new year? And do you think finally those buzz around probably a Geo listing coming in, some of the IPOs that we've been waiting for, could that get the party started again for Reliance Industries and the investors of this stock?
Well, I hope, this is generally, actually what I have realized is that the managements follow their own wisdom. Markets expect a lot. You saw what happened last year, ITC demerger that we were just talking about, hotel business. Market was talking about it for pretty long, but when it happened and according to what the management decided, it didn't happen the way the market wanted it to be, and then the stock got punished. So hiving off businesses and listing them as a separate entity, I think we'll have to leave it to the management, respective management, and their own wisdom and their fine sense of judgment. I don't think management would do what the market wants them to do. They will do it everything. So on Reliance Industries, we are still maintaining. I think closer to 1200, wherever the stock is trading, 12, 1250, 1225. It's a great long-term investment idea. We are maintaining targets of 1500 plus as of now. Like we mentioned, you, me, and Shell at the kickoff of the program this morning, that we are going to enter earning season from tomorrow and from next week, thick and thin, and it will last for maybe about next 3-4 weeks or maybe more. Reliance Industries numbers is something that we are extremely excited to look at, and the statements and the commentary. See, hiving off unlocks value, and it triggers some new rejuvenated interest. But we maintain a positive stance on Reliance, like I mentioned, and the target is, as of now, 1500 plus.
Okay, fair point. Remember, Reliance has this habit of just testing the patience of even the most longest term investors a lot. There was a phase that Reliance did nothing for 9 years, and it just remained in a sideways band. And at the launch of Reliance Jio in 2016, from then on, it accelerated very sharply, and then gave a bonus issue, and again there is a bonus issue which saw the stock raising up to 1600. But when the actual action will begin, only Reliance knows and only God knows. But strong move coming into Tata Tech, 909. This is a JV that Tata Technologies has formed, so please keep an eye out on that one. There is hectic activity on Akums. This is a newly listed pharma company on the CDMO space, the largest player, as Gaurang points out just 20 minutes ago. And Akums at the moment is 627, available near its, below its actually IPO listing day when it was 6th of August. Let's get Osho's view on Akam drugs.
See, the technical aspect of this counter is very not very suffice to give a very strong review, but overall we have seen that the counter is into a kind of a profit booking zone, or it has slipped from the higher zone of nearly 1150, 1160 odd levels, and there has been some kind of consolidation in the near term in this counter. So I'm expecting that for the short term perspective, yes, approximately 570 to 560 should be acting as a support base. If it breaches below this level, then it may be a disrupting on the chart structure, while I am expecting that the time it breaches the zone of 680 on the higher end, there can be a decent positive movement that can be seen in the short term period.
Okay.
Akam's IPO was floated at 679 rupees in August, and this is where the price is at about 627. Before we let you go, Gaurang, maybe one or two things that you would like to point out why Akam Drugs makes a long-term bet from these levels, or are you hoping that price will become juicier still?
Price becoming juicier still is not that I would possibly be in a position to comment, honestly, Shell. But look at just the kind of opportunity and the play the company opens up to you. CDMO is something that has been exciting us for a pretty long period of time, offering comprehensive range of pharmaceutical products and services in India and overseas. That is what Akam Drugs and Pharmaceutical Drugs. It is one of the leading contract development and manufacturing organization or player. Competes with the likes of very niche and marquee names. Has got clients in form of Alembic Pharmaceuticals, Cipla, Dabur India, Dr. Reddy's, Sun Pharmaceuticals, etc., etc. It does contract manufacturing for them. And the way we live our life as of date and the way the quality of health is deteriorating, Shell. Uh, I don't want to go into detail. Look at the place where you are working from and you are staying. I think it will open up a lot of opportunity, and along with that, you have the geopolitical situation, which adds to the opportunity. I may sound a little bit rude when I say this, but the fact is fact. Someone's food is someone's poison, and someone's poison is someone's food.
Okay. Well, thank you so much then, Gaurang, for being with us on this morning edition. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And like we've taken a promise from you that you're going to be coming in more often in 2025 and also coming to Delhi in the next week. And we're going to be enjoying that Chola Bhatura episode with you that we have promised over the next week here in Delhi as well. And we will also have some fireside chat along with the Auto Expo also on the hindsight right there. Thank you so much, Gaurang. Always
thank you, Sakshi. Definitely looking forward to meeting up and catching up with you and Shell. All the very best. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, viewers, half an hour to go before we wind up the morning edition. So let's look at some of the other interesting pockets. Well, Pharma is in thick shape, Osho. Which of the stocks are you going to be continuing to, buy in this current on move that we are seeing, up move that we are seeing in the Pharma pack? What looks good to you here?
See, from pharma space, firstly, which I have mentioned, Max Health is looking very positive to me. Yesterday, it has given a breakout, and today we are also witnessing a follow-up buying in this counter. So at these levels, although the counter have already seen a decent surge of nearly 4% in the week and has already been at a lifetime high zone, but I'm expecting that from here onwards, it has the capability to go towards the zone of 1260 in the short-term period. So this counter can be seen for a short-term perspective. Even other counters, Biocon is looking very positive to me. Yesterday, it has given a very drastic upsurge that has been backed by very strong volumes. So there might be some kind of breather or profit booking that can be seen by the day or by next 1 to 2 days. But overall, I am expecting that from here onwards, it has made a very strong base setup for itself, and it is ready to move towards the zone of 420 to 430 in the short-term period. So these two will be the preferred pick for short-term traders. Still one more counter is there, Zydus Life Science. So Zydus is hovering near the zone of 1000, and after a very long period, the counter have given a consolidation breakout. So Zydus is looking very positive to me, and I'm expecting nearly 1050 to be tested, which is the 200-day simple moving average in the short-term period for Zydus Life. And one can definitely expect even a higher target in the coming period, because once it breaches the zone of 1050, then we can see a trend reversal in this counter. So this counter has made a very strong foundation for itself, and I am expecting that from here onwards we can see a very decisive up move in Zydus Life.
64 points lower on the Nifty, 137 points lower on the Nifty 500. There is hardly anything that you can look at in terms of indices if you're looking at positively in the market, but record highs. And this is primarily from the hospital space. Max Healthcare, 0.5% higher, 12.45. KIMS, 2% higher. This is Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences. And of course, you have Anantraj. This is a Delhi-based realtor, 3.5% higher now, 915. Any volume buzzers worth positivity? Okay, Narayan Hirdale. This is again the hospital space that is doing pretty well. Please keep an eye out on this one. 1.3% higher, 1371. Tata Technologies is something that I've marked earlier. Already 118%, more than 100% of 5-day volume has been done. Osho, what are the charts of Tata Technologies telling you? At 908 rupees, and apart from that, you have a strong move coming into Dr. Reddy's. Already 50% of 5-day average is traded, about 11 lakh shares. To you, Tata Technologies, Osho.
Tata Technology, if I have to say, it is hovering with a formation of lower lows, lower highs kind of a pattern. But in the last 2 trading weeks, there has been a positive divergence on the RSI front. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, there is a possibility that this counter can see a positive movement in the coming period. And with today's traction of a gap up opening and testing the 21-day exponential moving average, that can be seen as the immediate or initial sign of reversal in this counter. So I'm expecting that from here onwards, one should not be very much aggressive, but in a staggered manner, yes, one can definitely accumulate this counter for higher target of nearly 945 to 950 in the short term period. Once it breaches the zone of 945, then it might negate the formation of lower lower highs formation, and we can see a kind of a reversal in this counter. But overall, still now it is at a very slender zone, or it is hovering at a very base formation for itself. So I expect only the aggressive traders can accumulate this counter, that too in a staggered manner for targets of nearly 945.
Okay, got that. Let's look at some of the other pockets then. Okay, broader markets. Let's mark some names that are doing well. From the NBFC space, it's Fusion Finance that's doing well. 8.5, no, 9% higher now. Ashiana Housing is up by about 8.5%. Mangalore Refinery is up by 6%, all from various sectors. Then you also have Exicom Telesystems, one of the recently listed stocks, that's up 5%. We also have some tea coffee names, McLeod Russell, Coffee Day Enterprises, also up and about right here in the F&O space as well. What else is buzzing? Z Media Corporation is another one that's been on the buzz today. Borosil Renewables is up by 5% odd. You have Hariom Pipes that's up and about as well. So these are some of the stocks that are buzzing in the broadest index right there. Anything that catches your attention, Osho, in the Nifty 500 basket?
See, from here onwards, the counter which you have mentioned have started gaining some traction, but looking at the broader term time frame, they are still into the formation of lower highs formation. So I am expecting that until we see a consecutive buying traction in these counters, majority of the counters that has been discussed, till that time, there can be some kind of trading movement that can be seen for the day traders, but overall the view remains on the sidelines, because these are the counters which have started gaining traction from the lows and have started moving towards the short-term moving average for the first time after a very long period. So I expect that if there will be consecutive buying traction, for example, in MRPL, one can definitely look at this counter above the zone of 160. Then only we can see some kind of sustainability on the higher end. Till that time, for day traders, yes, definitely it provides an opportunity to accumulate over here with a strict stop loss of 150 for targets of nearly 160.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what we can do now is take a detour into the other spaces in the market. We have the small cap index to worry about. There is nothing much happening on the long side, and if you look at how it's structured in terms of losers, this is ITI Limited, again profit booking happening 6.5% lower. Aditya Birla Real Estate, something that you knew as Century Textiles earlier, is about 4% lower. Profit booking in Blue Star from a record high, 3% lower, 2090. Amber Enterprises, again profit booking 3.2% lower from a record high, now 7720. Affle Cams, Swan Energy, CDSL, all giving back some of the very smart gains that they had made. What is the most active counter on NSE small cap? This is Aegis Logistics. Again, a fresh high yesterday, but profit booking now. Narayan Hirdale. Because the theme is on the hospital space, let's get our view in from Osho. Remember, record highs on KIMS, record highs on Apollo Hospitals, record highs on Indraprasth Medical, and of course Max Health. Let's look at Narayan Hirdale against this background. Osho, 1379. What is your view?
See, again, this counter have also started gaining very strong traction, and it has headed towards the lifetime high zone. So I'm expecting that with the momentum in the entire space which you have mentioned just now, I'm expecting that this should also join the rally, and I expect that in the short term period, it has the possibility to move towards the zone of 1450 in the short term perspective. So on the weekly basis, it is having a first resilience around the zone of 1380, so which is approximately just 2-3 points away from here onwards. But a closing above 1380 will be very crucial to watch in this counter. But looking at the recent development in trading volumes in the last three trading sessions, I'm expecting that this counter can see a very strong movement in the coming period. So any closer above 1380 or 1390 can provide a conviction on the buying side for this counter. Immediate target comes around 1440 to 1450. But looking at the overall consolidation breakout on a broader term time frame, one can definitely expect another rally of 200 odd points from here onwards. So definitely a buy recommendation at these levels also, and even aggressive buying above the zone of 1390 odd levels. But even at current levels, this counter is looking very lucrative for immediate target of 1440 to 50 levels.
We have a question coming in from one of our YouTube viewers for you, Osho. This is from Venkat from Andhra Pradesh. He says, Namaskaram, I hold Coal India at 415. I want to know if I should hold or exit. What would you want to advise to him on Coal India?
See, overall, currently it is into some kind of a strong sell-off. The counter is hovering below its major exponential moving average. But looking at the overall technical parameters, this counter have entered the oversold territory. So from here onwards, the downside might be seen as limited. Approximately 365 to 360 should be seen as the next support zone on a positional basis for Coal India. And this fall has been very steep in nature. So I expect that there can be a formation of or a consolidation phase that can be seen before the reversal in this counter. So I will advise, if the view is for long-term perspective, one should definitely hold on to the counter. If there will be any further correction towards the zone of 365 or 60, one should even try to average out the counter. And on the higher end, the counter, once it surges above the zone of 390, then we can see some positive momentum returning back in Coal India for short-term perspective. The target comes around the zone of 430-35, but overall, from a longer-term perspective, one can definitely hold on to their investments.
Fair point. 943, and what's clicking well is Akam's drugs, 4.2% higher, 637. Banks are doing pretty well, and that's the reason why you see a bit of a green tick coming back into the Nifty bank. This is Axis, now 1% higher, 1079. You have a strong move coming into the likes of the entire NBFC chain. Look at 5-Star Finance, now 1.3% higher, 731. Look at how strength is coming back into Spandana Spurti. Poonawalla is also in the green, and we also need to keep an eye out on Bajaj Finserv. So this is how the sector is moving, and in the same breath also look at another counter which is from this space, Bajaj Finance. This is where the maximum rally began, and at the moment Bajaj Finance is about 0.4% lower, but the charts have shown a dramatic improvement. Your view on Bajaj Finance, Osho?
See, overall, Bajaj Finance, as you mentioned, that it has seen a very strong movement from the zone of 7,000 towards 7,600, that too in a very short span of time, 2 to 3 trading sessions. But overall, this counter is looking positive to me on the daily time frame, and there can be some kind of, although profit booking or breather that can be seen. But overall, I am expecting the zone of 7,200 should provide very strong support in this counter, and any consolidation near the zone of 7,200 levels can be seen as a buying opportunity for this counter. So I'm expecting that in the short term period, we can see another set of rally from the zone of 7,200 towards again 7,600 will be very crucial levels, because we have started seeing some kind of profit booking around these levels. But the time it surpasses the zone of 7,600, but that is on a very positional basis. Then we can see 78 and 8,000 levels coming in the coming period. But for the short term perspective, 72 to 76 is the range for this counter. One should try to accumulate around 72 and try to book their profits around 7,600 odd levels.
Okay, got that. So that's the view that's coming in. Let's look at some of the other pockets that we can discuss. Osho, within the OMCs particularly, are you finding any fresh interest as well amidst this up move in the oil and gas story as well? Or do you think, upstream companies will interest you more like Oil India or ONGC? How are you looking at this crude oil move and what looks good to you here?
See, for the marketing companies, there is still some kind of bearish movement or bearish setup that is being on the daily time frame chart. So overall, BPCL, HPCL both are looking weak on the technical perspective, and I'm expecting that there can be a continuation on the downtrend in these counters. For HPCL specifically, 375, 378 is the zone where one can expect the downward movement to continue. But that means for short-term traders, one can look for selling opportunity towards the zone of 378 and 76 in the short term period. Now coming to the exploration companies like ONGC, yes, this counter has seen a very drastic upsurge. It has reversed from the zone of nearly 230 towards 270 now. But in this week and in the last week, we have seen a drastic upsurge. So there can be a possibility of some kind of breather, because looking at the broader time frame, the zone of 260 and 270 in the from the month of February 24 till July 24. This has been the range where this counter have seen a very strong consolidation. So I'm expecting now this zone will be acting as a very strong resistance for the counter. So 270, 75 on the higher end and approximately 258, 260 on the lower end will be the immediate trading range for ONGC. But the biasness is bullish, to buy on the dips and sell on the rise will be the approach that one can adopt in this counter.
Fair point. 9:47. We have pretty much nothing to talk about in terms of sharp gains or sharp downsides. Dixon Technologies is down 6%. Kalyan Jewelers is down 6%. IGL down 4%. Paytm down 4%. So we are seeing a nice price erosion that is happening in the market, and that is not looking good at all. Dixon is the fourth most active counter. You have 420 crores traded so far. ITI 403 crores. You have Zomato, which has traded 340 crores. And in top form is now AG's Logistics. Okay, 1020. A bit of a breather in the morning. Now back again. This is the third day of successive gains and on a very, very high volume, a record high that needs to be marked. Spandana Spurti, 15% higher at 461. Again, second day of gains. And this is a move that is coming in after 4, 5, 6, 10 consecutive months of a downtrend. So buying support, whether it's bottom fishing or whatever you call it, is what is there upon us. The most recent high was 1230 rupees on 1st of Jan 2024, and exactly 12 months later there is sign of bottoming out. Would you want to comment, Osho, on Spandana Spurti?
See, overall, looking at the movement in this counter, yes, you have mentioned that this counter has seen a very drastic figure on the 1st of January and again bottoming out near the same time frame. And in this week, it has already surged approximately 35% from the lows. And that has been backed by decent volumes or a very large volume. So I would say that for aggressive traders, yes, one can definitely try to accumulate, because such kind of rally that has been backed by very strong volumes is very rare to see, and figures out that these kind of movement overall portrays a positive development in the counter. So for short-term traders, yes, one can definitely try to accumulate this counter. On the higher end, the support or the resistance is approximately placed around the zone of 550 to 600 odd level. So this will be the first hurdle that can be seen in this counter. While on the short term frame, the support is approximately placed around 400 odd levels. So 400 will be the support zone and nearly 600 will be the resistance that can be seen in this counter. So for short-term traders, yes, definitely one can try to accumulate, but with a higher risk reward kind of a view on this counter. And even it has a potential because as we have seen a steep correction, so there can be a possibility of moving a very higher movement from here onwards. But for the short-term traders, 600 will be the targets, and there we again need to review the count.
Okay, got that. That's the view coming in. Viewers, all the indices are now down in the red, barring the oil and gas space. That's the only one that's bucking the trend, 0.8% higher. And within that, ONGC, GAIL, Oil India, BPCL are some of the counters that are hovering higher in that space right now. Even on the Nifty Next 50 space, you will just have a far and few between stocks that are GAIL, ICICI Pru Life, Bank of Baroda, Macrotech, Geo Financial Services is up and about. You have Shree Cement that's buzzing. I think there are some counters in the cement pack that are probably showing us some strength. Dalmia Bharat, for instance, is up and about as well. Shree we just talked about. There are some such stocks within the cement pack that are buzzing. Anything looking interesting to you, Osho, within the cement space?
From cement space, JK Cement is looking positive to me. It has formed a very strong technical pattern, but obviously that has been formed on the higher front, so it's not very much recognizable. But overall, it has made a cup and handle pattern, but that is at near the lifetime high, so it is not very much significant. But looking at the overall sentiments and the overall pullback that we have seen from the zone of 4,000 towards 47 or 4,800 odd levels, I'm expecting that there can be a continuity in this counter in the short term period. So on the higher end, I'm expecting nearly 5,000 to be seen as the immediate target for short term traders. While on the lower end, there can be a possibility of some kind of correction or profit booking. But approximately 4650 is a very strong support zone for this counter. While on the higher end, before 5,000, 4,900 can be seen or can be seen as the short term target for traders. So JK Cement is a preferred pick from cement counter. Others are like Ultratech is looking also very positive to me. I'm having a bullish view in this counter from a long period, but it is not having any kind of a stronger movement from a longer duration. But overall, it is into a very strong consolidation, and that means it is forming a very strong base for itself. So I'm expecting the time it breaches the zone of 1200, 12,000 on a decisive manner, we can see a decisive up move in this counter for approximately 300 or 400 odd points in the short term period. So Ultratech is also a preferred pick from the cement space.
Okay. What you need to track is Medanta. This is the hospital space that is doing pretty well. And Medanta has seen better days, but it's just that a very serious round of profit booking has seen the stock slide from 1500, which was the most recent high, to about 1,000 rupees. We are now again coming back into action on Medanta. However, there is not much of volume pressure, but again, let's get Osho's view on this hospital stock again. Osho, Medanta for you.
See, Medanta is into a strong consolidation zone. It is hovering below the significant EMAs on the daily time frame chart. So I would rather say that once it breaches the zone of 1100, 1110 odd levels, then we can see a decisive upsurge in this counter. Overall, looking at the technical perspective, it is on a verge of giving a positive breakout, but still the conviction is pretty low because once we will get a positive crossover once it breaches the zone of nearly 1100. So one can definitely keep this counter in their watch list. The whole space is looking very positive, and the time it surges beyond 1100, there can be a possibility of higher returns of approximately 1190 to 1200 odd levels in the short term period. So definitely a buying perspective, but on a conditional buy that is approximately 20 points higher, one should try to accumulate this counter for nearly 100, 120 odd points in the short term period.
955 and we are 30 points down on the Nifty, 23,678 right now. Anything else, Osho, that catches your attention for the day today? What is the strategy that you'd like to adopt on the Nifty, as well as any key stocks that you'd like to keep an eye out on for the day?
See, for Nifty, I would be saying that 23,600 historically have seen some kind of support for this counter. So any dip towards the zone of 600 or 580 odd levels on the spot level can be seen as a buying opportunity for the day for the day traders for a higher target of nearly 740 to 750. While the stocks like insurance space is looking quite positive to me, they are on the verge of giving a fresh reversal. So I'm expecting that there can be a decent move in stocks like ICICI, GI, ICICI Prudentials. These counters are looking positive to me, and I'm expecting that in the short term period, there is a possibility that we can see a decisive up move in these spaces. Even from FMCG, selective counters like Godrej Consumers and Tata Consumer is looking positive to me. So if there will be any kind of breather or consolidation, one can definitely look for buying opportunity as a day trader, or even for short term, like for 1 to 2 trading sessions, one can look for opportunities in these spaces.
Again, from the NBFC space, we will mark Credit Access Grameen. This is a stock that was often spoken about on Business Today when the rally started from, say, 909. This was in February 2023, all the way up to 1700 rupees. From then on, successive months, like I said, 12 months of sustained selling is now what is bringing Credit Grameen to its multi-year lows. Let me just give you an idea on that one. Yes, the price that you see was last seen in March 2023. So it's actually a 2-year low on Credit Access Grameen, which is now showing signs of robust pickup. Friday, which was Jan 3rd, very heavy volumes, and now a breakout above that. So keep an eye out on Credit Access Grameen. Let's take Osho's medium term view on Credit Access Grameen, which now seems to be a sectoral trend. So Spandana I have marked, Credit Access, look at Ujjivan, every single one of them is doing well. Credit Access for you, Osho, 8% higher. What are the charts telling you?
See, overall, this counter have seen a strong buying traction from the multi-week or multi-month support of nearly, which was seen around the zone of 2023, the lows. So from there onwards, we have started seeing some kind of positive traction. That means that around the zone of 850, 900, this is a very strong support base for this counter. And from here onwards, we can see a decisive upsurge. On the immediate basis, approximately 1080 to 1100 can be seen as the immediate target for this counter. While if there will be any kind of breach beyond 1100, then we can see a continuity towards a higher zone in the short to medium term time frame. But for a shorter term perspective, yes, this counter looks very positive. It has seen a very strong traction today, also nearly 7-8% higher. But overall, I would be saying that 870, 850 is a very strong support base. So for a positional purpose, one should keep that as a stop loss. While on the short term perspective, 1100 will be the target that one can expect in the short term period. That is for, let's say, a week or 2 in the short term time frame perspective.
Okay, got that. 9:59. We'll wrap it up at that. Thank you so much, Osho, then for being with us on this special edition to share with us all your thoughts. Muted trade on the benchmark index level, viewers, 23,672 on the Nifty. Oil and gas, private banks are now trying to inch up a little higher, along with Reliance Industries. That's perhaps stemming the fall for the Nifty. 1260 right now, 1.5% higher for Reliance Industries, among the top movers there. Pharma, some of the stocks are buzzing. You have Dr. Reddy's Laboratories up by 2% odd, among the top movers. Axis Bank is pulling up now 1% higher in trade. You also have Kotak Mahindra Bank that's inching up. Financial services, some of the pockets are also doing well, like Bajaj Finserv for that instance, and some of those that even Shell and Osho just marked. Auto stocks, some of them are also hovering higher, M&M and Maruti for that instance, but a large part of even Nifty stocks have slipped. Trent is now further lower, 2.2% decline after yesterday's decline. It's further slipped now at 6,719. Shriram Finance, Adani Ports, Titan, Bharat Electronics are some of the other pockets that are also down as far as the Nifty stocks are concerned. On the F&O space, Dalmia Bharat is the top mover, Dr. Reddy's, Max Healthcare and Reliance as the top movers. On the downside, you have Kalyan Jewellers, Dixon, Paytm and Balkrishna Industries as those that are dragging in the space right now. We'll wrap it up at that, viewers, on this note. But do stay tuned. There's a lot more for you to track in the markets throughout the course of the day. We'll continue to get you market voices through the course. Of course, 12 noon is when we will come out with daily calls, and 2:30 again we'll be back for the closing edition on Market Today. So stay tuned.
So we don't know whether there is a mutation of this virus which can create a COVID-like scare. So these are all speculative. Even the pictures which are circulating for China, there is no authenticity